The Chronos Whisperer, Echoes of Time's Untold Tales. In a world where time was not just a concept but a tangible force, Ezra stood as one of the last Chronos Whisperers. His gift, both a blessing and a curse, allowed him to hear the whispers of time itself, to perceive the echoes of past events and the murmurs of possible futures. Ezra's sanctuary was a cluttered workshop filled with clocks of all shapes and sizes, each ticking to a different rhythm. But these were no ordinary timepieces. Each was attuned to a specific moment in history or a potential future, allowing Ezra to listen more closely to time's intricate symphony. As the autumnal equinox approached, a time when the veil between past, present, and future grew thin, Ezra sensed a disturbance in the temporal flow. The whispers of time grew erratic, filled with dissonance and confusion. Something was amiss in the grand tapestry of history, and it fell to him to unravel the mystery. Settling into his favorite armchair, surrounded by the gentle ticking of his chrono-attuned clocks, Ezra closed his eyes and opened his mind to the currents of time. Immediately, he was assaulted by a cacophony of temporal voices, each clamoring for attention. With practiced ease, Ezra sifted through the noise, searching for the source of the disturbance. Gradually, a pattern emerged, a series of events throughout history that seemed to be unraveling, their outcomes changing in subtle but significant ways. The fall of Rome was happening centuries too early. The Renaissance was blossoming in China instead of Europe. The Industrial Revolution was powered by steam and clockwork, but electricity remained undiscovered. Ezra's brow furrowed in concentration as he delved deeper into the temporal streams. He could sense a presence moving through time, making small adjustments that cascaded into major changes. This was the work of a Chrono Saboteur, a rogue time-sensitive individual using their abilities to reshape history for their own ends. Knowing the danger such alterations posed to the fabric of reality, Ezra knew he had to act. Using his connection to the time stream, he projected his consciousness back through the ages, following the trail of temporal disturbances. He witnessed pivotal moments in history being subtly altered, a whispered word here, a misplaced object there. Each change on its own seemed insignificant, but together they were rewriting the course of human civilization. Finally, in the shadows of ancient Alexandria's great library, Ezra confronted the Chrono Saboteur. It was a figure shrouded in temporal energy, its features constantly shifting between past and future versions of itself. "Why are you doing this?" Ezra demanded, his voice echoing across the ages. The saboteur's reply came in 1,000 voices, each from a different era. To perfect the timeline. To create a utopia free from the mistakes of the past. But Ezra could hear the lies in the saboteur's temporal signature. This wasn't about creating a better world, it was about reshaping reality to suit the saboteur's own desires, heedless of the consequences. A battle ensued, not of physical force but of temporal manipulation. Ezra and the saboteur dueled across centuries, each trying to undo the other's changes while protecting their own alterations to the timeline. Ezra drew upon all his skills as a Chronos Whisperer, listening to the subtle nuances of time's flow and making precise adjustments to counter the saboteur's more heavy-handed changes. It was delicate work, requiring not just power but a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of historical events. As their conflict reached its climax, Ezra realized that he couldn't simply defeat the saboteur. The changes to the timeline were too extensive, too interwoven with the fabric of history. Instead, he needed to find a way to integrate these changes smoothly into the time stream, minimizing the disruption to the overall flow of history. With a supreme effort of will and skill, Ezra began to weave the altered events back into the tapestry of time. He couldn't erase what the saboteur had done, but he could guide the changes towards more positive outcomes, ensuring that the overall trajectory of human progress remained intact. As the last threads of time settled into place, the saboteur's form began to flicker and fade. Without the temporal anomalies to sustain it, the rogue time traveler was being reabsorbed into the corrected timeline. Exhausted but triumphant, Ezra returned to his own time. As his consciousness settled back into his body, he became aware of subtle changes in his workshop. Some clocks had disappeared, others had appeared, and many ticked to slightly different rhythms. The world outside had changed too. History books told slightly different stories, and the geopolitical landscape had shifted in small but significant ways. But to Ezra's relief, the overall shape of human civilization remained familiar. In the days that followed, Ezra carefully monitored the time stream, making small adjustments where necessary to smooth out any remaining temporal wrinkles. He knew that his work as a Chronos Whisperer was more crucial than ever in maintaining the delicate balance of past, present, and future. As he sat among his ticking clocks, listening to the whispers of time, Ezra reflected on the responsibility he bore. He was not just a passive observer of history, but an active guardian of time itself, ensuring that the grand narrative of human existence continued to unfold as it should. The Chronos Whisperer settled back in his chair, ready for whatever temporal challenges the future might bring, knowing that in the intricate dance of seconds and centuries, his role was to keep the rhythm of time in harmony. The end.